Welcome everybody, it's Healthy Friday again. Hi, I'm Karen and I'm here today. I've been promising you some mason jar meal prep, and before we do that, because I'm actually going to show you a fun little trick with it, I'm actually going to show you something that I came up with last night that's just a fun little surprise and is kind of unrelated to mason jar meal prep, but it is a fun, delicious, and really healthy snack that you can make easily for your family. So I wanted to just kind of show you this morning. I had posted a teaser picture. These are chocolate chip peanut butter muffins, and they are completely gluten-free. So there is no flour in here whatsoever. So I'm gonna just show you, I made these this morning, and you make them in the blender. I have a Vitamix, and so it makes them really, really smooth. I think you can get them just as smooth in a blender as well. But they look a little different from a normal muffin because they're not gonna have that flour and that gluten for the fluffiness, but boy, are they, oh, peanut buttery good, and of course chocolate, what can we say, right? So I'm just gonna kind of really briefly walk you through that, and I'll post the recipe in the comments after the video, and then we'll get to our mason jar meal prep. But basically, this is the simplest recipe. Basically what you're gonna need is 8 tablespoons of peanut butter, and I use Trader Joe's. If you watch my videos at all, you'll be familiar with the fact that I love my Trader Joe's. So any of their products that I can use, and if I love them, I recommend them highly. So 8 tablespoons of peanut butter, 3 tablespoons of honey, and I am using organic raw honey from Trader Joe's. You're gonna want a decent sized banana. This one's actually not super huge, but, and again, I've mentioned in my other videos that you want it to be ripe. You don't want it to be all green. So see how it's got a little bit of brown spotting and stuff on it? That means that it's getting to that really ripe and more delicious flavor of banana. So you want that. You also want to get yourself an egg. And then the last thing, of course, is if you're gonna make them chocolate chip with peanut butter, you want chocolate chips. I love the Ghirardelli brand. I don't know if you can buy those in Canada, but that's my favorite brand here. And this is so simple. I did it this morning, like I said, and I just don't have quite enough ingredients to do it again. You put all of that stuff into your blender, and I did it in the order of peanut butter, banana, egg, honey, and I just kept it on kind of a medium. With the Vitamix, it being stronger, you might need higher on the regular blender, but on the medium, and just kept blending it. And then my secret ingredient, of course, and everything, you guys all know that I love, I've been taking my Juice Plus products, completely plant-based products for 15 years, and I feel like the more fruits and vegetables and plants we can get into our body every single day, the more opportunity you have for vibrancy and health and longevity. So today I just wanted to again mention, this is the Juice Plus Complete Powder, completely plant-based shake mix. And it can go in all kinds of cool things. If you've watched any of my other videos, protein balls, we do those a lot. But this, half a scoop of this, so basically a half a package of this, and you roll that up in the blender, and then once it gets nice and creamy, you take that out of the blender. I had to put it in a bowl to put in my chocolate chips because I didn't want them to get crushed in the blender. And then once you mix your chocolate chips in there, about a half a cup, I made them in the mini muffin pan. I don't think you'd want them any bigger than this. They're a little bigger than, bite-sized, because they're super rich. And then for the way they cook, they took about, at 400, they took about 8 or 9 minutes. You just want to watch them carefully. They're going to look fluffy in the oven. When you take them out, they're going to sink a little bit. So they do look, like I say, a little bit weird because this is a flourless recipe. But that is chocolate chip peanut butter, flourless, gluten-free muffins. So I wanted to share that with you today because I was so excited. I'm working more towards getting gluten-free because I think it bothers me. So that was exciting for me. So, all right. Well, welcome to everybody who's joining today. And I just want to say, I'm so excited to be here again. I love sharing with everybody about the more plant-based food you can eat kind of lifestyle. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about the mason jar meal prep. Now, when I was originally introduced to it with my Juice Plus team, it was called Salad in a Jar Party. And that's also an absolutely wonderful way to do it. You can make them as layered salads, and then you just dump them out on your plate, bring your salad dressing with you, and definitely on the go and stuff. They're really, really handy. What it's expanded to, there's more and more people getting on board with it and creating more, fun things to do with this. So we now call it more like mason jar meal prep because you can make a whole meal out of it. And when I was first introduced to it, and the gal on the video, who's a wonderful gal, friend of mine, mentioned something at the end, I kind of went, oh wow. So that's why I wanted to show it to you guys today. So I'm gonna back up a little bit, and you can see basically I've put together, these are the last 3 that I have left in my fridge right now. So I'll bring them up a little closer, and you can kind of see, so we've got tomatoes, we've got yellow squash, we've got cooked sweet potato, we've got romaine lettuce, we've got looks like spinach, and then on the top I have some nuts. And this one's I think a little bit different in that I've got some carrots. So we've got tomato, yellow squash, looks like the cashews are in that layer, tomatoes, carrots, again the romaine, and then on the top you've got the you can see the spinach on the very top, and then I've got some cauliflower. So if you're going to eat this as a salad, you're going to have to want to like all of that stuff when it's raw. And I'm not a huge yellow squash fan when they're raw. So this is why when you're doing your mason jar meal prep, you decide, hey, is this going to be an absolutely raw salad? And here's a great tip. When you're making a change in your lifestyle and you are getting more and more like raw whole foods in, your body, it's not used to that. So it's hard for it to digest. If you have any leaky gut issues or things like that too, you're not going to be able to digest the real food in its sort of, you know, natural form. Your body is going to have a really hard time with it, even if you're just kind of new to eating more and more plant-based food, whole, fresh, raw food. So one step is to break it down, because there's a whole breakdown process that takes place in your body in order for your stomach to digest it, and then for your bloodstream to absorb it, and then your cells to use it and create, you know, that great cellular health. And one of the first steps is, one of the first ways to start the steps of the digestion or breaking down is to actually cook your meal. So I wanted to show you, I had taken one of mine out of the jar and just kind of dumped it out here. And I wanted to share with you, I don't want to drop it, but bring it over, but I wanted to share with you that this one I had made several days ago. So some of the ingredients, like there's a tiny bit of browning around the edges of the romaine lettuce. There, a couple of the tomatoes are looking, you know, like not very happy. And the thing is, with something like this, what we're going to do in a minute, I'm going to turn my video just a tiny bit so you can see, is we're basically going to lightly stir fry this, and it's going to be amazing. So you're going to see the end product of a meal in a jar that really kind of looks a lot like a salad, but is going to be a meal. The other tip is too, is if you're not a vegetarian, some people are, and that's great. There's a lot of great food that's available for our bodies that we don't need the meat. I love meat, so I often will add meat in. Today I'm not doing that, but I do have a lot of the protein though too, because as you can see, I've got the cashews. So we've got tomatoes, we've got the yellow squash, we've got the cooked sweet potato, cashew, the romaine, and the spinach. So what I'm going to do is, just while I'm thinking of it, turn on my trusty stove with my trusty really old skillet, and I'm going to get that going, and then I'm going to put just a tiny bit of olive oil. And like I said, I could be working for Trader Joe's too, because everything I buy generally comes from Trader Joe's. I love their products. They're just really great. So, all right, so I'm just getting my skillet warmed up a little bit here, and you want to just kind of, you know, again, you're just going to lightly, want to lightly stir fry. And then my other tip for me too, I like a lot of flavor, and I like to sort of just add a little something in. Here's an idea that I came up with, which is to add a little bit of sauce just with it as you saute it. So we've got this Iron Chef sesame garlic sauce. It's really good. It's got quite a lot of garlic in it, so it's quite strong. We're Japanese in this house, so we do have a lot of Japanese things. So the yakitori sauce even, which is yaki means cooked or on the barbecue, and tori means meat. But again, that doesn't mean that you need to use it just for meat. Teriyaki is also another one that's made it into the mainstream in North America. You can find a teriyaki. It's thinner, so I don't like to use it as much when I'm stir frying. Okay, there's my skillet getting warmed up. And then again, another Trader Joe's product that I love is this Trader Joe's Island Soyaki. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna upend the whole mason jar, which I already put on here. I'm just gonna try and get this all in the fry pan without missing. And we're gonna just saute this up a little bit with that oil. So that's just gonna take a minute or two, obviously, but it's fairly quick because you've done most of the prep. One of the things I noticed too, a lot of people use the mini tomatoes. They stick them in the jar uncut because then they don't sort of bleed and everything. What I've noticed is that when you're trying to cook them up, they don't cook up as fast. So I'm just really quickly gonna slice open these little guys that I've got in here, because that way they'll cook a little bit faster. And you can, you know, you don't have to, but you can just speed things up a little bit if you do that. So we're on high here. It looks like it's sort of sauteing a little bit, so I'll just let that saute for a moment. I let it get started a little bit to meld the flavors and just get everything sort of softened up. And then once I get a little bit more of the real, I don't know, frying's the right word, but the frying action going on, then I shake this up really good. And the island soyaki is it says it's for everything, but it's got all kinds of delicious flavor in it with the sesame base, soy sauce and sesame base, which gives it a bit of a Japanese flavor too. But then there's the sort of garlic and fruitiness to it too that makes this one fun too. They have a soyaki sauce and an island soyaki sauce. So my American friends, you can definitely check it out. You can go to Trader Joe's if you have one in your town. Lots of towns don't, I've discovered. I have one 5 minutes from my house, so I'm really lucky. Really, really grateful too. So, all right, you can probably hear that. It's getting a little closer to sauteing. So we'll just let that work its magic. And sometimes I add a little extra oil, sometimes I don't. But another great tip too is if you're trying to keep oil to a minimum in your diet, which generally I'm not, because the good oils with the omegas 3, 5, 7, 6, 7, and 9s that we don't typically get in the American diet are contained in things like this, the organic extra virgin olive oil and things like that. So those oils are really oils that our body can use and can and really craves too, which is again one of the reasons why at Juice Plus we created not too long ago the Juice Plus Omega Blend. We started off with fruits and vegetables, moved then into berries, which are good for cardiovascular health, and I have 2 dead parents from cardiovascular issues, so I'm very concerned about keeping that to a minimum in my family and my body. And then we moved into a completely plant-based omega blend too, because too many people were saying to us, we need an omega that's not all fishy and gross, and this is all plant-based, so it is absolutely no fish burps, plant-based, and it is just a terrific addition to everybody's diet because we're not getting the right oils. All right, look at that, just looking good. So we're sauteing that up. See how good that looks? Lots of great color, and everything's just kind of softening up just a little bit. And as I mentioned, I do have some pre-cooked sweet potato in there. And that's one of the fun things you can do with your meal prep is that if you have some leftovers of things like that, say some fried rice that you made, or, you know, pretty much anything that's sort of plant-based, you can layer that in with one of these meals and then just dump it out, and you're basically just reheating it. So then, there we go. I just add that in, and I'm not really sauteing it at that point because everything's basically cooked. Let's give that a minute. I forgot to get a plate. All right. So within about less than 5 minutes, see what you've got. I'm just gonna put that on the plate so you can all take a look at how like delicious a meal that looks. And then if you, like I said, if you're a meat eater and you want to put meat in with that when you're sauteing, pre-cooked meat that you've maybe made from another night or something, then you can absolutely do that as well. All right, so this is what you got for a delicious salad or meal in a jar, and you've prepped them all so that you have them in your fridge looking just like this and lined up, ready to go. Last tip, of course, is try to pack everything we can in glass, not in plastic. The plastic is not that good for our health, and this is going to keep them nice for you and airtight, of course, and healthier than storing your things in plastic. So in this house, we try try to stay away from the plastic if at all possible. So, all right, well, I hope you've enjoyed today. As I mentioned, this was kind of a surprise. I made these absolutely delicious flourless peanut butter chocolate chip muffins using our Juice Plus Complete powder, which gives it just a ton more, I mean, peanut, it's got lots of protein, but, and then the mason jar meal prep, culminating in you get to see what I'm about to eat for my dinner. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed today, and it was good to see everybody, and we'll see you next Friday for my Healthy Friday summer series. All right, bye.